I'm going to give a fair warning and say that this build is one of the strongest builds in this game. So much so that it makes me question some of the design choices in this game. But since it exists, I was going to talk about it eventually. So this build comes from PvP I saw 0221, which is showing on screen right now. But if you don't want to pause and read it, I will explain it as I go along. This build is a variation of a Wax Wings tank archetype, with more of an emphasis on crowd control. Starting with the specializations on Avenger, which are Terrifying Presence, which basically gives 15 seconds of invisibility to teammates. This allows for some trivialization of game mechanics such as Anchor on Corruption if you have a competent teammate. You can just pop the Avenger stim on a teammate and just leave, since you don't even have to be near them after you shelter them. There is also the fact that you can shelter teammates when bosses are near, effectively making them only target you. This allows your teammates to safely damage the boss as long as you don't run into your teammates. The next specialization is Last Laugh. It simply allows you to burn anything around you when your armor breaks. A nice safety net paired with the perk art plates, since anything that dies from this burn counts towards the kill requirement to replace your armor. Then there is Surplus Kindling that allows you to have 2 Avenger stims at the cost of waiting 50% longer for each one. Which isn't really a downside considering tag restocks exist. Wax Wings. This specialization is a mess. Let me explain why Wax Wings is silly. So it reads, when receiving armor damage, you will no longer take health damage. Passively regenerate armor, if active, over time at a rate of 10 armor every 2 seconds. But become unable to naturally regenerate health. Starting with the first line, if you know how armor works in this game, you will instantly recognize that this is, dare I say, a tad bit overtuned. For those of you who don't know, when you equip an enemy plate, you gain 150 armor, indicated by the blue bar. Armor always takes 2/3 of the damage you should have taken. This means that if the original hit was supposed to do 20 damage, you will instead take 14 armor damage. To put it in layman's terms, you will effectively have around 200 extra HP against direct damage when you have Wax Wings, since 1/3 of that damage you took simply gets ignored. Although I do believe there are no exact numbers in the game to showcase it, you can sort of see it in the comparison in the background footage. So what I'm saying is that if you only click this specialization with no other perks or other specializations, you would have around 350 effective HP against direct damage. Obviously, there are Ghost, Ghast, and other stuff, but you have a big HP pool as Avenger anyways. Not to even mention the other sentence that states passively regenerate armor if active over time at a rate of 10 armor every 2 seconds. But become unable to naturally regenerate health. It didn't even need this, but why the hell not, and the downside is negligible at best since MTI stems and PMS stabilizers exist. The reason why this is absolutely ridiculous is because when you use the Avenger class ability, it causes your armor regen to skyrocket. You can pretty much just shrug off a lot of incoming damage like they were nothing since you regenerate so much. Now the perks, starting with the Hydroxy 8 Spicy Pellets, which states, weapons based on the EM505 Pepper Ball will now inflict incendiary damage. If you guys did not know, some of the Pepper Ball guns like the Pandemonium and the Ravager are laughably strong against high HP targets compared to many other guns since they scale off the Anomaly's max HP. The weakness comes in the form of lower damage against lower HP targets, but the Hydroxy 8 Spicy Pellets allow you to clean up lower HP targets in only 1 or 2 shots very effectively from the burn damage. This allows you to do some absolutely wacko things like soloing mini-bosses or bosses relatively quickly without other damage perks since you have such a high uptime on damage. Because nothing can really kill you when you're using the Avenger stim and know how to walk backwards. This isn't going to be one-shotting bosses or anything, but you can definitely output more damage than a dead DPS player. Which seems to be the underlying philosophy of this build since the Ravager and the Pandemonium do way more than enough damage to deal with these threats in a timely manner, while the burn from the Hydroxy Pellets makes the Horde trivial to deal with. Then there's Anarchist. Big explosions and big area effect every 3 anomaly kills. Probably not needed, but this build is already so strong anyways, might as well have fun with big explosions that can chain react. This does help you have a higher uptime on kills, since you can kill things that you didn't mean to kill or abuse your armor break mechanic even further. Blitzkrieg. The passive 90% more walk speed allows you to kite nearly every anomaly in the game by pressing the S button. It technically makes you immune to cripple, cause you never could run anyways, and you can stop hurting your finger on the shift key. The next perk is Cerberus. This perk is extremely strong paired with the Waxwing specialization because in many cases your armor will deplete before your health does. A common strategy for this is to just group up a bunch of weaker anomalies and run into them to get your HP and armor back if paired with other perks. Although this is wholly unnecessary, it is certainly an option. Now let's talk about art printed plates, or art plates for short. This basically gives your entire armor bar if you kill 12 anomalies. If you think about it more, you essentially have a 200 effective HP barrier that comes up every 12 kills. I don't think I need to say more than that. APB995 rounds allow you to kill most enemies comfortably in later hazards since most anomalies in the late game have at least tier 1 armor. I think this is non-negotiable if you are using pepper ball guns unless you want to worry about aiming or doing way less effective damage. Then there is H.World Transmitter. I'm kinda getting tired of talking about this thing, but yeah, clutch reinforcements, anchors, yada yada, you get the point of it hopefully by now. The final perk is Adrenal Auto Injectors. Yes, that's how it's pronounced, I had to look it up. It allows you to kite bosses or any anomaly combined with Blitzkrieg to make you outwalk them. Since you are most likely getting hit, you might as well make use of getting hit to maintain distance and shoot them back or get out of a bad situation. Now it's time for the starting loadout. You will need spare mags, the pepper ball compact, MTI stems, and 2 enforcer nano grenades. When you get enough credits, the suggested late game loadout is the FL-EM 511 Pandemonium for the primary slot, the FL-EM 509 Ravager for the second primary slot, and the A&E FA Dustball Compact for the pistol slot. For the melee slot, the K2 Combat Blade works fine here, and you should just buy Invil Combat Stims so you can have a faster reload with the pepper ball guns when you have downtime. This build is very easy to play, but there are some tips that I probably should give you. First, you are not invincible, so don't do stupid stuff like face-taking Gambit, and use the Ravager to shoot them from longer ranges. Also, do not try to eat a low HP Kujiro Slash unless you trust your team to finish the job. Trust me on this one. Secondly, don't just stand still and actually move around when shooting things. You are very tanky against small hits, but not very big ones when under the effect of Rampage. Thirdly, shelter your teammates and go do something useful. Take for example this Hazard 100 clip, I shelter whoever was uncorrupting the anchors and I last marker to get rid of the trash on the map. Since I don't have to worry about my teammates for 15 seconds, I can just go to the shop or restock and come back to whoever is next to the other corrupted anchors. Probably my last tip, which is don't run to Narnia when you are kiting the boss. Please try to stay within most of your damage dealer's sightlines if possible. I think that's all I wanted to say for now. Thank you to PvP I saw 0221 for suggesting the build. I will get to the other suggested builds eventually if Roblox would stop having memory leaks. Anyways, see ya, probably.